Do you want your splits to look like this? Or this? Or maybe even this? Well, you've come to the right place, because I am going to teach you everything you need to know about endgames. If you don't know me, my name is Lengard, an Australian Minecraft speedrunner who was 0-2 against none other than Dan Danny Boy. Anyways, before this video starts, I just want to take a moment to shout out my Metafy that I recently just started. I'll have it linked in the description, but I'm going to be offering coaching now. I think the price is pretty fair. I'm currently doing a sale on the first 20 sessions of each of these. As someone who reached Netherite a year after I started playing, I think that I can help you to improve faster, and a one-on-one session just allows me to really figure out what you're struggling with and help you to improve on it. Anyways, sorry about that. I will resume the video now. For this video's purpose, I want to assume that you already have MPK and are familiar with how to use it. But if you don't know how to use it, the information should be in the GitHub link in the description. Anyways, the most amount of time you're going to be spending on practice for this is basically in the fort to finish split of MPK. So you can just pick one, it doesn't matter. So before we even get to the fort, I'm just going to go over a few basic things that I want to cover. So for starters, while you're purling to the fort and around, you should be doing your 4x4s, clearing your inventory, stuff like that. However, I do see a lot of people make a mistake of trying to overlap too many things in a pearl and then they die because of it. So like, you know, like this, and then I don't do it in time and just assume I'm dead. You can just avoid this by using a general rule of thumb that if you can't see where your pearl is going, then you absolutely shouldn't try to overlap anything. So in ranked, I don't think you should bother going down to 5 RD unless you have seen the spawner already and you are on your way to it, or you are in one of two biomes that are Soul Sand Valley or Warped Forest. These two biomes have a greatly increased spawn rate for mobs, and so it's much more worth it to play for strays when you're in those biomes. Now, something that's really important that I actually see a lot of people not do is using your pie chart in the fortress. So as soon as you can after entering the fortress, if you don't know where the spawner is, you should change your pie chart off of the pie ray one and then go here to this, and then you can scan for the blaze spawner. So the way that fortress generation actually works is quite unintuitive. Basically, in the same way that strongholds have a starter and the portal room is usually going to be close to starter, there is a starter in the fortress and the spawners are usually close to that starter. Locating this starter is not as simple as it seems, because while you might think the starter is just going to be in this room right here, it's actually not. The way that you find starter is by going to one of these cross sections here and being at 1111 in a chunk. While this knowledge is not particularly useful in runs because you're not just going to stand in the middle and check if you're at starter, you can be running along a highway like this and notice that the middle block is 11 on the x-axis there. If you notice that, there is a fairly good chance that you are adjacent to the starter. Now, this is mostly only useful on buried forts because on any open fort, you should be using your eyes. Another very good rule of thumb for naviging these good parts of the fortress is that lower is better. These staircase nodes in the good part are the only way that you go up and down in the good part. And in the same way that stronghold inward facing doors lead you back to starter, going down leads you back to the good part starter. Now, as for what you should do once you've found the spawner, I'm not going to go super in-depth into blaze bed strategies, but there is a super good video from my friend Jacko Wacko that I will link in the description that shows you all the setups you should need. Now, a mistake that I see a lot of players make is that they will keep working on their spawner instead of overlapping things when they have like a high amount of rods. If you let another cycle spawn and you get to 6 rods without having crafted or blinded or anything, then you are losing time because you're not overlapping hitting the spawner and waiting for blazes that you actually need. There's a surprising amount of time to be gained and lost in the spawner split. I'm not going to go over search crafting or where you should build your portal in this. I don't really think it matters. It's up to you. It's just personal preference. So your best friend in this split is going to be F3C, and use the angle to figure out where you need to align yourself with. While you can just use F3 and read the values, I find it much easier to just visualize where I need to go this way, which is super important. Something I want to emphasize the importance of is that before you've even entered the fort, you should be looking around for the spawner. I see many people get tunnel vision and forget that their goal is not to enter the fort, it is to get 6 blaze rods and blind. Something that many people don't do enough is that while they're at the first spawner, you should be looking around for the second spawner and trying to hit that as well. If you just look around in third person while you're killing the blazes, it goes a really long way. And if your opponent doesn't do it, this can save you 30 seconds easily, if you're just ahead on like a cycle or two. Even in this MPK, I got 2 3 spawns, so this is probably really rewarded if I was playing against someone who didn't do this. So terrain nav is something that I can't just teach you how to do, but it is something that I can teach you how to learn. Something that I recommend every player does: incorporate MPK somehow into their daily warm-up routine. The times you should be shooting for depend on what skill level you're at, but at the top level, I tend to average around 430 and even faster in actual ranked matches. When you're navving terrain, you should take a second and just think before you pearl. This can save your life in so many scenarios, and so many people don't do it and die to being bad at throwing smart pearls. Now I'm going to talk about the Stronghold split. Now there are a lot of nuances to Stronghold navigation, but I'm going to give some general tips. I'm going to give some general tips that I see a lot of people don't do and then they get punished. So loading in here, the longer you're in the Stronghold, the less reliable your pie chart becomes because more mobs spawn in and they cull your spike. Even if you're on half a heart entering the Stronghold, I still recommend you immediately do a quick scan, and then once you've located a spike that you like, you should then death reset instantly. I would advise against running through the Stronghold on really low health. Even if you have a bed in your offhand, just on the off chance there's a skeleton that shoots you. Obviously the exception to this is if you're behind your opponent and you need to catch up. Something that a lot of people don't know that is very easy and is honestly useful a large portion of the time is how to gravel death reset. If you don't have enough pearls, just place a bed there and then do this. For the last part of this video, I'm just going to do a couple of fort to finish MPKs and I'm going to explain what I'm thinking while I'm doing them. So here we see good part. I'm going to do this easy pearl. I don't have to clutch on the side of the block and I'm still getting closer to where I need to be anyway. I see the spawner, but there is a blaze here I want to kill. 2 actually, or 3. Look around for the other spawner. Don't see it. Okay, I do see it actually, it was there. It might have been a mistake to come here because there is a wall entirely to my right, so it's going to make it harder to find good terrain. I'm going to get my pre-crafts off as early as I can after clearing the spawner. I'm on 5, so I'm going to blind now before it's too late. Something that does happen a lot in MPK is that you get caved, which is annoying, but you can just go into spectator mode and fly up. So, pretty easy terrain here, it looks like. And make 282. Something I see a lot of people not do is that you should dig down to a Y42 and then do that thing that I just did. And it makes you less likely to fall down into lava below you. So I don't have a spike. Check chunk borders immediately after. And then cross it, and then I did get a slight spike there, so I'm gonna go for that. Okay, it's just here. Not really too much to say in that one because it's just kind of fairly linear. And 436. Okay, in a crimson, good parts right there. There's a staircase, so I'm gonna pelt to that so I can go down. Jesus. Okay, I see the spawner there, but I'm gonna get these blazes first because I think they're worth it. Not really seeing the other spawner. Okay, it's there. There are times when you should just kind of abandon laying a spawner and just send strays like this. This looks really good, and there's a high chance that I'll have 6 once I get these guys and go to the spawner, so I'm just gonna go for it. I have 5 rods, I'm here. 6, 7. 1200. I'm just gonna throw this blind pearl because I don't want to waste time getting closer. Okay, easy terrain again. No spike, chunk waters. Oh, so we're not in starter because none of these are flush.